In 1959, while living in India, my Aunt Dorothy found it all but impossible to buy film for her camera, and she asked her many friends in the United States to keep her supplied. At numerous points in her journal, she talks about the many photographs she took. Most of them were slides, and a couple of times over the years, I actually saw box after box of slides stacked in her closet. I know that my aunt never got around to organizing her India slides to illustrate the textbook she intended to make from her field notes. Sadly, upon her death, many boxes of correspondence, photographs, and all those India slides were trashed. Fortunately, in her journal, my aunt left us some picturesque descriptions of the things she saw on the Indian subcontinent. A festival at Mylapore Temple, April 14th, 1959. It is time to get back to journal writing, or the little things will be forgotten as new experiences take my attention. So many things happen that I would like to share with friends at home, and much of it will be shared through photographs. My pictures have improved with time and a good light meter. However, there seems to be no remedy for my preoccupation with so many things at the same time. Much too often, I make a careful meter reading and forget to change the camera stops. Film is not available here, so having a ready supply when the scene around one changes so swiftly has kept Washington friends busy. Last month, I was on the last roll, and on the eve of an important religious festival, a dozen rolls arrived. The festival took place at the nearby Mylapore Temple, one of southern India's most spectacular. The frieze-like carvings depicting scenes from the Ramayana, the religious epic, are painted. There seems to be a predominance of blue. The temple is dedicated to Shiva. The followers of Shiva, the Orthodox, wear horizontal stripes across the forehead. The principal temple cart, also called chariot, is tremendous, with galloping lions on each corner. Temple carts are used during festivals to pull the images of the gods through the streets. Holy men ride along, accepting offerings, and bless those who make them. The day before the festival began, I went to the temple where the cart was being unveiled and prepared for the parade. The decorative carvings seemed enough to display, but most were covered with long, Japanese lantern-like paper standards. The cart was pulled by men tugging on a rope. The number was estimated as 100 to 300. There being such a surging mob, it was hard to separate who was pulling and who was trying to get to the altar. What seemed to be a parade to an American is hardly that. The thousands of people who come for a blessing come early, but they do not find a place and stand and wait. They mill about in the street. Little sidewalk displays of food, toys, combs, and what have you appear, and people buy from the vendors. Mrs. Nagaswamy and Dr. Nagaswamy took me and another American woman to the festival. Dr. Nagaswamy studied pediatrics at the University of Chicago and creative writing at Iowa. They had a friend who lives on the street across from the temple who welcomes their friends to view the parade from the top of their house. What fun it was to see the hurrying crowds below moving toward the procession of carts. There were many people in every kind of costumes. I was most struck with the number of widows. The Orthodox widow shaves her head and wears a beige-colored khadi sari without a blouse, or choli as it's called. They are barefooted, as are most southern Indian women and men. Families hurry along together with one member carrying a basket-like tray with the offering for the god, coconut and plantain banana, and flowers, usually yellow. Rice and other foods are offered, and these, after being blessed, are given to the poor who come begging at the temple. This is an important source of food for many people in India. It is also a way for some people to get rid of a feeling of responsibility for the tragic plight of so many. A gift in this manner brings a blessing. Along the line of the procession, servants stood on the tops of houses with buckets of water. The procession stopped every few yards, and as the priests administered the blessing, the pullers of the cart, men wearing very little, sometimes a knee-length loincloth, had a shower from the rooftops. Cups of water were poured down. There were men with palm trees fanning the cart pullers. Pulling a heavy load in the humid tropical climate of Madras can be dangerous. The Hindu feels a special blessing goes to the puller and the person who ministers to him as he pulls the cart. Marian Yankaur reported the Catholic Church around the corner hired Hindu Harijans to pull the carts at their annual festival. Before the procession, Dr. Nagaswamy went along the street with me to take pictures of some of the displayed wares. An especially colorful cart had hunks of yellow jackfruit. This is taken from a watermelon-shaped shell, rough like a hedge apple. The Swedish odor is somewhat like a pineapple. It is displayed by street vendors who take it out with the hands and expose it to flies. It can be bought whole. The people from Kerala State are very fond of it. Dr. Isaac Joseph told me that eating it could not be kept a secret, as the person had an odor comparable to that of eaten garlic. On the opposite corner was a mountain of dates. The huge temple cart was more than 2 stories high. The road had to be cleared for its passing. After the parade, Dr. Nagaswamy went with me again into the streets to take some close-up pictures of the various altars on the 8 or 10 carts. At the side of the large one, the pullers were begging the people above for a shower of water. Seeing me below, they hesitated. The men begged. All at once the shower came. My new straw hat and my dress were drenched, but it felt good in the heat. The procession was led by the temple elephant. Most temples have elephants. Someone said that originally they were kept at the temple as a community enterprise. An individual could not afford to feed an elephant. They have an important role in the ceremonial proceedings. The Mylapore temple elephant must be young. It is small. It was blanketed in red and gold. The coconuts being offered were broken in the street, in front of the elephant. Money was put on the street. The elephant picked up the coins in his trunk and passed them over its head to the rider. It was able to discriminate between elephant food and food for the rider. It ate that intended for it. Babies were handed up to the rider to be blessed on the elephant's back. On the following day, the 63 saints, I believe that's the right number, who were Shiva's followers, were carried through the streets on palanquins. One of my Brahmin friends, describing the procession, likened it to the Catholic saint days. Her son attends a Catholic school and has holidays while the church has retreats and other special observances. Here, all are honored by Hindus at the same time. All have the power to bless those who sacrifice and pray.